And finally tonight, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has hit out at reports that reforms are going slow and is confident that the key reform measure of the goods and services tax will come through soon. In an exclusive interview to Vikram Chandra, Mr. Jaitley also said the Prime Minister has strongly disapproved of the comments made by some leaders of the BJP and the Sangh Parivar that have caused much controversy in recent days.
You know, just had to ask you this question. There are some people, of course, saying that Clean India is all very well, but it's also partly because the government's not moving fast enough in other areas, such as economic reforms. So, would you agree with that criticism? You yourself have said there are baby steps that are being taken right now.
Well, I haven't used either of these places. These are very major steps which we have taken in the last 6 to 7 months. And that is what is establishing, helping us to build up the credibility of the Indian economy. Steps like replacing the Planning Commission with an alternative body. If you call it a baby step, I think you need an editorial correction in that. If steps like...
Your reporter is having said that we're taking small steps right now, but bigger steps will
I am
keep coming.
taking steps which the obstructionists are not able to obstruct. I will take steps which the obstructionists will try and obstruct. And therefore, opening out the defense sector, opening out the railway sector. I'm surprised you could even use a word like baby step.
I thought you'd use the word.
I've never used it. I think...
it's been reported that you used it. So
well, my advice to all journalist friends is don't believe the media.
Don't believe the media. That's one way of looking. But one of the areas, of course, so just a couple of other related questions now that I'm sitting with you on GST, which is something which has been so close to your heart as well, and something which you're really making efforts to try and push through. Are we any closer to a breakthrough now than we were week back, month back, 1 year ago?
Well, I am reasonably confident that we are close.
And does that mean we could get it by 2016, 2017?
Well, that's my endeavor. That's my endeavor.
Because again, there's concern that happens. We hear that the revenue neutral rate could be as high as 27%, which some people, Arvind ji, I think, said.
If you take all the taxes, in the initial years, you have to allay the fears of the states that they're going to lose revenue. Therefore, even if you get a GST, between an ideal GST and a good GST, you'll have some issue in the initial years. But once, like VAT, every state realizes that its revenues are going up, then of course you can't add to the cost. You'll have to moderate the rates itself.
Right. Have you got a lot more flexibility in doing this, and generally in whatever you have to do with the economy, with taxation, because of this gift that in a sense we've got of oil prices coming down? It's made a major...
Oil prices,
we are the big gainer.
Oil prices to the overall economy is certainly a gift. But oil prices in this area is a little bit of a concern, particularly to the state governments, because they were all charging ad valorem VAT. And they feel that their revenues go down the moment the oil prices drop. So this is one area where the benefit is not so clearly visible. As far as we are concerned, of course, the subsidy quantums, both for the companies and us, comes down.
And the external deficit and the fiscal deficit.
And therefore, you have a foreign exchange saving, and various factors do take place.
Of course, I don't know what impact it will have on the rest of the world, which is why Raghuram Rajan, for example, is saying make for India as opposed to make in India.
You see, I don't think there's anything improper or incorrect about that statement, because India is a very large market. And therefore, most of what we make here is to be domestically consumed. We are one of the biggest markets in the world. And certainly the exports also is a very important market for us. But to be competitive in both the markets, we not only have to make in India, but also make it cheap.
Yeah, so did you perhaps twist his arm a little bit in saying if you cut interest rates, it will help you a lot?
No, I think the government and the Reserve Bank have a very healthy relationship. As a part of that healthy relationship, you can always afford a debate in a democratic society as to whether, at what level the inflation moderates and you go in for the rates. The balance between inflation and growth has to be maintained. And I'm sure the Reserve Bank is a very experienced and professional institution, is fully conscious of its responsibilities.
All right, one last question before we allow you to go. to some extent, are you concerned about some of the noise that is overtaking the government from peripheral areas? Statements that are made outside.
I'm certainly concerned. And I'm certainly concerned for the reason, I'm sure the Prime Minister is also concerned. He's voiced it in the party meeting, he's voiced it in Parliament. We are working actively on a proper governance agenda. And we don't want our attentions to be distracted from that agenda. There are people who want to obstruct. And therefore, my appeal to all my friends would be, don't provide the obstructionist with an opportunity.
And that advice would be even to people within your party and people close to your party from whom some of the statements are coming.
Well, I think I've made it more than amply clear.
All right. Don't give anybody an option. But can't this also be stated very simply? I'm sure if the Prime Minister or others just say, look, please stop making these
Well, I have said it
comments.
very softly. The Prime Minister has said it more bluntly.